Welcome, Scorpio, to your July 8th through the 13th reading. Hope you friends are doing great out there. Okay, guys, let's get in here and see what's going on with you. Due to the 4th of July, I got off a little bit there, off schedule, so definitely going to be doing it the 8th through the 13th, and then your mid-month will come up right after. Okay, so let's get in here and see what's going on with you. Best messages. Best messages. Dealing with someone who has victim mentality, so they may be playing victim at this time. And let's see how you're doing. You're the Queen of Wands over here. You're keeping the courage and confidence, trying to keep that determination and the joy going on, coming out as the Queen of Wands. So definitely feeling like whoever you're dealing with is in this victim mentality. There could have been some clashes that were going on throughout the month. Let's see. Beginning of the week, however it is. It does feel like... It's almost like where you felt like there was new beginnings that were starting to happen. It ended up taking backward steps. So they started falling backwards. So it could have felt like all of a sudden you were having a new beginning with this person, and then all of a sudden they went backwards. It's like they're walking backwards back into a victim mentality. Whatever responsibilities that maybe they were trying to work on, whatever was going on, it's almost like they're right back where they started from for some reason. It definitely could be due to some family member or somebody in your family, but definitely feeling like you were having the happy success that you wanted within the family, but then this family member or this spouse or whoever it is definitely taking backward steps, right? If it's a soul sister type of situation, like my bestie, something like that, it could also be that as well, whoever you consider your family, okay? But definitely feeling like, okay, this is where it is, right? This is how this is working. You're going to take backward steps. So, let's see. Clarifying on the new beginnings. I felt like everything was going good. And now all of a sudden they're taking these backward steps right now. You're going to start watching them. Yep. You're on your way to recovery, making new beginnings, thinking this was the end, everything is going good. And then all of a sudden, there it is, emotionally immature. There they are, once again, taking backward steps towards being emotionally immature about the situation or irresponsible. See, I felt that responsibility before, where all of a sudden maybe they're just not being responsible, right? It's like, you should be responsible for this and that, and now they're not. So, very interesting. So they're definitely, no matter what's going on with the Page of Cups in reverse, that is definitely disappointment. I'm very disappointed. I can't believe you're going backwards and you're going to play victim about the situation. They may even be holding a grudge. Something got back into their head to where, you know, the frustration, what they're dealing with has come back, or what you guys are dealing with. Okay, so where you were finding the happy success, they're starting to become self-loathing. The self-loathing is the playing victim. I'm not good enough. I'm not that. Punishing themselves. And by punishing themselves as playing victim, right? So where you feel like the family was coming back together and things were changing, now you're seeing the resistance to change. You're seeing them breaking that cycle, going backwards. So whatever is going on, they have no control, and the negative stage is going again. So it's like they're digging a karmic trench. It's like 3 steps forward, 6 steps back. Okay, so it's like, how are we going to support each other? How are we going to do this if you're, you know, always acting immature or not responsible? You were waiting for the fresh new start. You thought these new beginnings were really right there, and you're really trusting in life right now. I do feel right now that you're really holding on to them changing, them going back, them, right, going back to where it is that you can, you know, actually feel like we're making progress, going back to that progress. But it's talking about shattered dreams. It's talking about broken family. It's talking about the disharmony and the misalignments and the struggles within the relationships, saying that it's right back to where it started from. So definitely feeling like the movement is a place where you now are not sure if you're just going to, release it, surrender it, and just, whatever, or, and just let it go, let them do what they need to do, you know, how do I move on from this? How am I going to move forward with this? So it does feel like you're in a place where you want to have some kind of, sudden action, making these conversations, making these, making your voice heard is what it sounds like. But you're not. It feels like you're really not going to. You're going to settle down over here as the hangman and stay away from the situation, because it just feels like you're imposing your own opinions, you're imposing what you think, you're imposing your love, or however it is, and they're not listening anyways, because they're in the woe is me, right, situation, where it's just becoming more of a challenge than it's worth, right? So it does feel like it could even be that there's, something that has to do with money, um, right? Their work issue. Maybe they can't hold a steady job. Maybe they had a job and you guys were doing great, and now they've lost their job, and now they're right back to where they were before. There's also a lot of, just feeling like it's a personal setback, because it did feel like you had the Two of Cups behind you and the Five of Cups, but now they're back to looking at the Three of Cups down. So, like I said, they might even be holding on to a grudge. Maybe whatever was said at one time, maybe it just keeps coming up and they're not learning from failure. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again, unmotivated to learn from their mistakes, unmotivated to, really commit themselves to whatever it is they needed to do, whatever those steps forward were. So it does feel like they fell back into a trap. Um, but now it just feels like there's so much um, lack of motivation, right? That this is a very heavy energy, that, very, very heavy energy, because it feels like you're trying to keep the family alive. You're trying to keep the bread on the table. You're trying to keep things together where they're causing so much disharmony. Um, it's like you're trying to resolve something that you just feel is just like a revolving door. Like I said, 2 steps forward, 6 steps back. So it just feels like that's, like you're dealing with something that's risky. You're dealing with something that's, it's like destructive energy, self-destructive, in which it like the energy bursts out to everybody else because of the victim mentality. So it's like you're trying to hold on to this blind faith and just trying to keep all your ducks in a row. And you might even be trying to be as generous as possible towards this family member, towards this person. But you're having a hard time. It's like, yes, definitely moving against the grain, but you're moving against the grain with the joy and the determination. And it doesn't mean you're not crying on the inside. It's what you feel like. I have to be determined. I have to do this. I have the confidence. I'm very independent. I have to do this. So, like, no matter how hard it is, you're still, right? You're still there, and you're feeling, because I do feel like deep down inside, you do feel like you have missed an opportunity, um, because of their lack of foresight, the lack of how they can get out of something. So, so definitely having that breakdown in communication is not going to help either, because if they're just stuck in this place of darkness, this place of self-loathing, it's not going to clear anything at this time. So it feels risky. It feels like there could be risks involved in how I'm going to move towards them, how I'm going to say something, so I'm not saying nothing, right? And it just feels like the more you do say, the more they play victim, right? And it's like they did this, but yet they're not taking responsibility, right? There's that irresponsibility. I'm not taking responsibility for this situation. So let's see what the overall outcome is to the situation. Give us the health of this person, the mental health area, emotional, of how this is going to pan out for this person. Looks like there will be a release, but it's going to take a little while for them to attain the goals, to see what it is they need to see, not to worry anymore. It says that the phase will pass soon, but it is going to take some time, right? Because they actually have to feel the comforts within themselves, right? So, because right now it's unpredictable because there's really no direction right now because they're just in this burnout area. There's a lot of alone time. This person, may need, right? But they need to come clean with the confession. They need to have that turning over, that new leaf. They need to rethink the situation, but they have to also take, that responsibility and understanding so that they can have the personal closure with their self, so that they can move forward and understanding that there's no shortcuts. There's no, that this is incomplete because they're keeping it incomplete. And so definitely they're going to have to see it in a different way, but they're definitely going to need some kind of recuperation over here. Recuperation could also be maybe they need rehab, maybe they need counseling, maybe they need, something, right? Open up a little bit more, so that way they can, express how they feel, express themselves without just shaming, right? When we get to victim mentality, that means we're shaming ourselves, woe is me, but it's also, instead of owning up to what the irresponsibility is and what's gone wrong, they want to make it like, woe is me, poor me, this happened to me, right? And I'm just, you know what it means, okay? It means they're not taking responsibility for what's gone wrong, okay? Playing victim. Somebody did this to me, right? I didn't do it. The devil made me do it type of scenario. And so, yes, right now it just feels like there's a lot of lack of discipline and a lot of stubbornness and recklessness right now that's dominating this person, and the way that they're feeling. So they definitely need some kind of recovery, and they definitely could be a karmic lesson that they are going through, but they're making like their own spiritual poverty. They're making their own, right, implications instead of improvements, meaning they're making it worse. And then of course they're making it worse with everybody around them, because they want to be in challenge mode, and this challenge mode is part of that victim mentality. They made me do it, Gemini made me do it, it wasn't me, okay? It wasn't me who did it. So there might even be this coldness that's coming from them as well, as they become more aggravated about the situation. Okay, so, but it also feels like there is some deep inner turmoil, which is, deeply rooted within the seeds of fear. Okay, so instead of reaching out, they would rather just keep themselves there instead of finding that, that contentment within themselves, which of course, therefore, throws it all onto you. And that's really what this is. It's throwing it all onto you. And then that just makes you, but it's crazy because it's actually making you stronger. And I do see that you're kind of like withdrawn within the situation as you're contemplating about the situation, but you have this overall, I don't know, it's just you are just dedicated to just being strong. That's all there really is. It's almost like you're not going to weaken me down. Maybe they weakened you last time, and this time, all they did last time was make you stronger. Because it does say you're persevering, you're looking at your long-term goals, you know what you need to do, right? And you're being completely reliable for all the situations around you. I mean, that's really what it is. Because somebody has to do it, right? Especially if this is a family situation, this is your husband or your wife or something like that, you have children, someone has to be there, right, for these kids. Someone has to be there to run this household. Someone has, to be there to do such a thing. And even if it's your brother, it's like, I have to be strong for them. So no matter what it is, it's like being strong for yourself, being strong for someone else. Maybe you're just being strong for them too, because you're watching them so contently. It's like, I can't fall for this situation, because then who's going to watch after you? Especially if they're in deep, deep depression, right? Because a lot of the times the victim mentality comes with deep depression, so you're kind of like watching them, and you have to be strong so they don't weaken you down. Misery loves company, so you have to be careful. Seek to enlarge your appreciation of the beauty of nature, animals, and humans. And that's kind of like what you're doing. You're just kind of looking at life. There's that zest of life coming out. Like, I'm just looking at the beauty of everything else while I'm dealing with this situation, right? With an open, and I do feel like you have a very open heart. The Queen of Wands is super loyal, so I do feel like no matter what, there's this loyalty coming from you, even though it feels like you have kind of distanced yourself away from them in its own rights. Respect your inner cycles and honor them with your healing journey. Okay? Okay, my friends. And that is it for you. Until next time, peace and love. Bye-bye.